Another day of work. Not just any work, but building a boat type of work. A boat big enough for an ocean. Only problem? The ocean is hundreds of miles from here. Noah is insistent that this is what he has been instructed to do, and we must finish before the water comes. But what water? The rivers have not changed since the time of Adam. Where would this much water come from to carry this ark? I look over at my sister, who seems just as perplexed.
Water, hay, food, it seems never ending. How long are we going to be on this ark? It seems like we're loading it with enough supplies for every animal on Earth. Noah tells us we've been chosen to save life on the planet. But every day, it's the same people on the same Earth doing the same things. Noah says water will come from the sky and flood the Earth. But how could rivers and oceans fill the sky? I trust Noah and know that he's following God's will. I just wonder, when will we see this flood? And what will happen after? Today seems a little bit different. There's an odd feeling in the air. The winds are picking up and Noah seems more distracted. I look out in the forest. A deer appears. And another. Behind it, 2 bears are heading toward the ark. Like they know exactly where they're going. I look up in the sky. It is something I have never seen before, like sheep's wool. Then I hear a sound that chills my bones. Is this it?
But the rain never stopped. Bringing me down. Rain. Bringing me down. Greatest stories ever told. Through the ages they unfold. From the prophets to the kings. Feel the joy that true faith brings.
Welcome to the Greatest Stories Ever Told, a family Bible podcast brought to you by Just Mad Family Productions.
But the rain never stopped. Oh, I like that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm
a good
building
one.
an ark, that's the sort of song that I would like to build.
Soulful.
Yeah, so welcome back. This is Greatest Stories Ever Told. My name is Justin Jansen, along here with Madeline Jansen, and we are super excited about today's episode because this is one of the most well-known and famous stories of all the Bible. We're talking about Noah and his ark.
Yes, this is going to be part 1 of 2 parts. We're going to split this up because there's so much to talk about.
Yes, and because it's a special episode, we decided to bring in some special guests. So we're actually going to have our kids read the passages today. Again, being such a famous story that most all of you may already have heard of or know, we wanted to let them read it, add in something special.
Yeah, they've also been begging to be part of the podcast.
Yes, and they're difficult to work with. They only wanted red Skittles. This had to be recorded on a Tuesday at 3:05 p.m. for some reason. I'm just kidding.
They're
They
kind of
don't.
divas.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
But no, they did a great job, and we hope you enjoy it.
And we also just wanted to mention in our whimsy portion there, we know the Bible never mentions that Noah had any daughters, but the whimsy portion is just kind of us imagining ourselves in the story. So that's just our imagination portion.
Exactly. It's always fun just to think, what would it be like if we were there?
We had been there.
We wanted to remind you that in today's passage, you're going to hear a lot of this word Yahweh. And you may wonder or may have forgotten, we talked about it last episode. Yahweh is just a name for God of the Israelites. It's just God. And it's represented the biblical pronunciation of, get how this word is spelled, YHWH. And the Hebrew name revealed to Moses in the book of Exodus. So the name YHWH consists of the sequence of only consonants. Remember, no vowels, the consonants, Yod, He, Wah, He. And we also talked last episode how it kind of mimics our breathing. When we say Yahweh, it's like we're breathing. It's in our breath, and it's known as a really cool word. Here's your word for today, tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton. Say that 4 times fast.
Tetragrammaton.
Tetragrammaton. Say it correctly
Well, can you
4
tell me
times
what
fast.
it means?
It means tetra, meaning the ancient Hebrew word from tetra. Grandma, like your grandma.
You are not
So
helping
3
at
grandmas-
all. Tetra is what, 4?
We will get back to you and look that up
You're
as well.
not even going to tell me what it means. Okay.
We will know.
Well, there's your teaser. Now you have to listen to episode 5 to find out.
Yes, we will start episode
He
5.
clearly knows. He just doesn't want to tell you right now.
And remember, this is the greatest thing about Greatest Stories Ever Told. The Bible isn't just for biblical scholars. It's been
Right.
for all of us.
That's true, because we are
Even
not.
me.
We are not, but we are just Christ followers and parents who love reading God's word and hope that you too find joy in reading this word with your families. So, on that note, let's get into it.
Let's let one of our boys start reading this because they're about to walk out in a tetragrammaton fury. So go ahead and pick us up in Genesis 6, please.
Genesis 6, 5 through 12. Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of man's heart was continually only evil. Yahweh was sorry that he had made man on earth, and it grieved him in his heart. Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the surface of the ground, man along with animals, creeping things, and birds of the sky, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in Yahweh's eyes. This is the history of the generations of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time. Noah walked with God. Noah became the father of 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. God saw the earth and saw that it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth.
It's from my decade.
Oh, I like that you said your decade, not our decade. It's kind of you. Okay, so let's get into it. Noah was a direct descendant from Adam and Eve. Genesis chapter 5 tells us that their son, Seth, fathered Enosh. Enosh fathered Kenan, who fathered Mahalalel, who fathered Jared, who fathered Enoch, who fathered Methuselah, who fathered Lamech, who was Noah's father. So that makes Adam Noah's great grandfather. No, thank you for that.
Sorry,
again.
it just comes 2 hours later every time. Well, that's kind of cool, but it's also really sad when you think about it. That means it only took 10 generations and roughly 1,500 years from humanity to go from creation to almost complete wickedness.
Noah's grandfather, Methuselah, is the oldest person mentioned in the Bible at 969 years old.
Wow. Can you imagine that birthday cake blowing out those candles?
Oof, yeah. That's scary.
Sounds like a fire hazard.
That's like a 10 alarm fire.
Yes. And you're also going to notice that before the flood, humans lived a lot longer than they do after the flood. So
right.
that's why you're getting all of those really large numbers.
Big birthdays.
Yes, exactly. I wonder if they didn't get their driver's license till they were like 86
Can you
at
imagine?
that point.
All right, let's let one of the boys take it away, starting again in Genesis 6, verse 13.
God said to Noah, I will bring an end to all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence through them. Behold, I will destroy them and the earth. Make a ship of gopher wood. You shall make rooms in the ship, and shall seal it inside and outside with pitch. This is how you shall make it. The length of the ship shall be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. You shall make a roof in the ship, and you shall finish it to a cubit upward. You shall set the door of the ship
in its side. You shall make it with lower, second, and third levels. I, even I, will bring the flood of waters on this earth to destroy all flesh having the breath of life from under the sky. Everything that is in the earth will die. But I will establish my covenant with you. You shall come into the ship, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. Of every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ship, to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. Of the birds after their kind, of the livestock after their kind, of every creeping thing of the ground after its kind. 2 of every sort will come to you, to keep them alive. Take with you some of all food that is eaten, and gather it to yourself, and it will be for food for you and for them. Thus Noah did, and he did all that God commanded him.
Words of wisdom, words of wisdom.
Oh, yeah, that goes out to all you lonely animals just trying to find a pair for the ark. Some things you may notice is that we actually know the size of the ark that God instructed Noah to build. And in there it said, God said, make the ark about as long as 1.5 football fields.
Touchdown! Unbelievable!
He probably didn't use those words, though. I don't know that Noah would have known how to.
Oh, well, that's right. I'm thinking
Measure football.
American football. Maybe it's more like. I'm out of breath.
I don't know how that guy didn't pass out. Anyway, the point is that's how big the measurements were God gave him, right? So to make it as long as 1.5 football fields by today's standards and
as tall as a 5-story building. I don't have a sound effect for that.
I was waiting.
Sorry.
But, okay,
Bill.
so this is interesting. I thought a cubit is not an exact measurement. It was considered to be the length from a man's elbow to his middle finger, about 18 inches. How many cubits tall are you? Do you know? I am 3.4 cubits tall. Thanks for asking. That is 5'2" for anyone who's wondering.
And I'm taller than 5'2", so
Yeah.
a few more cubits. And the ark actually wasn't really a boat. It was more like a floating barn. And it wasn't made to sail, just to float, just to stay above the water.
And the word translated here as ship and often as ark, as in Noah's ark, is in Hebrew is tavah. This word is used one other time in the Bible. Baby Moses is put in a tiny tavah to rescue him from the Egyptians, just like Noah's massive tavah would rescue his family from God's judgment.
Very cool. And according to experts, so not us, but experts, the ark would have been big enough to hold about 20,000 to 40,000 animals, roughly the size of a sheep. Not a screaming goat, a sheep.
But
Sorry.
similar in size.
Yes. So let's get to the last chunk of our passages. If we could read it, please.
Genesis 7:1-12. Yahweh said to Noah, "Come with all of your household into the ship, for I have seen your righteousness before me in this generation. You shall take 7 pairs of every clean animal with you, the male and his female. Of the animals that are not clean, take 2, the male and his female. Also of the birds in the sky, 7 and 7, male and female, to keep seed alive on the surface of all earth. In 7 days I will cause it to rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. I will destroy every living thing that I have made from the surface of the ground. Noah did everything that Yahweh commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood of the waters came on the earth. Noah went into the ship with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives because of the flood waters. Clean animals, unclean animals, birds, and everything that creeps on the ground went by pairs to Noah into the ship, male and female, as God commanded Noah. After the 7 days, flood waters came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep burst open, and the sky's windows open. It rained on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights.
Whoa. Hopefully that woke everyone up. So, words of wisdom from that little bit of passage. We do realize in that passage that Noah and his sons had decades to build the ark, probably between 55 and 75 years. They were just building the ark. So, every morning it was,
Hi ho, it's off to work we go.
Can you imagine working on something for that long?
and hearing
Hi ho, it's off to work we go.
that every single morning. What do you think they got more tired of?
I mean, the things that you hear every single morning may be a little more
That's
tiresome,
true.
actually.
Hopefully they mixed up. Maybe they got a couple days off, but probably not.
So there are dozens of other ancient stories about the great flood of Noah's time. So how did there come to be so many accounts in different cultures and religions? Well, it makes sense, right? That through storytelling and over the generations, and especially after the Tower of Babel, when people were made to speak a bunch of different languages, that the story would come out a little bit different everywhere it was told, kind of like a game of telephone. But we can know that the story in the Bible is truth, since Jesus confirms the accuracy of all the Old Testament. And we know all of Scripture is God-breathed. 2 Timothy 3:16 through 17 tells us every Scripture is God-breathed and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for instruction in righteousness, that each person who belongs to God may be complete, thoroughly equipped for every good work.
Yeah, and it's cool to think that it's so ingrained in us because it happened to all of humanity that it just came
That
out as
everybody
stories
had a story
all around the
about
earth.
about this massive flood.
So very cool. So now let's lead into what does that mean for us this week? How do we walk it out?
Walk it out, we talk the talk, now let's walk the walk. Walk it out.
So God certainly doesn't need us to accomplish his will, but he wants to use us. God created all of these animals in a day. He could have certainly done that again after the flood. He didn't need Noah to build an ark to save all of the animals, but God delights in allowing us to work with him. In John 5:19 through 20, Jesus says, "Most certainly I tell you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father doing. For whatever things he does, these the Son also does likewise. For the Father has affection for the Son, and shows him all the things that he himself does. He will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel." Do you want to partner with God here on earth today? I know I do. Jesus invites us to do that. Our God is so mighty. He is a God of miracles, and we can be part of bringing healing and hope and miracles to those God is trying to reach right now, simply by asking God, "What are you doing, God?" and listening and asking to be part of that work. God is always working, even if we don't see or understand what he's up to.
Yeah, and here's something that's really cool. Out of all the people on earth back then, Noah found favor in God's eyes. But it's not like he was exactly someone the world or people around him thought was special. He wasn't a king or a ruler or someone like that. He was an old man, just like me. Well, he's a little bit older. He was 600 years old when the flood finally came, but God used him anyways. God delights in using regular people to accomplish his will. That is so great for us because the world may tell you that you're not important or famous or worthy, but guess what? You are special to God, and he can use you just like he used Noah. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, the Apostle Paul writes, "He has said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I will rather glory in my weaknesses, that the power of Christ may rest on me." We can be okay with being weak or being called silly because it is not us, but Christ in us that makes us strong.
It took decades for Noah to build the ark. Can you imagine working on something for more than 50 years, telling everyone around you there's going to be this great flood brought on by God, and then having it take that long? People probably made fun of Noah for building this ark. They probably thought he was crazy, preparing for a flood that no one had ever experienced before, and no one saw any evidence that it was coming. But the Bible tells us, and Noah teaches us, that it doesn't matter what the world thinks of you, only what God thinks of you. In John 15, verses 18 and 19, Jesus says, "If the world hates you, you know that it has hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love its own. But because you are not of the world, since I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you." It's a very hard lesson to learn, but it's okay if the world or people around us don't like us. We are not supposed to be like everyone else. We should stand out like Noah for listening to God and obeying him, even when it's not what everyone else is doing. In Noah's time, everyone around him was so evil that it hurt God's heart and made him sorry he created us. If Noah had been okay with fitting in and acting like everyone else, where would that have gotten him? Destroyed like everyone else. God provides a path to life for Noah and his family through the ark. Later, God provides everyone who will accept him a path through Jesus. Jesus is calling, all aboard! Are you getting on the boat?
Oh, I'll never let go. Never let go. Thank you, and join us
Who
next
was playing
week.
that flute? Yikes.
It wasn't the best rendition, but remember, Jesus takes
He
what
does.
is
He
weak,
likes
makes strong. So
The beginning flute players.
join us next week as we finish up. Noah's going to be on the boat, and let's see what happens during and after the flood. We'll see you then.
Have a great week.
Stories ever told through the ages they unfold. From the prophets to the kings, feel the joy that true faith brings.
Thank you for listening to The Greatest Stories Ever Told, a Just Mad family production. Don't forget to subscribe to hear a new episode each week. You can also follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube by searching Just Mad Family Productions, where we are taking ourselves less seriously while taking Jesus
Simple
more.
boy with faith so bold, greatest stories ever told. In the desert there was Moses, one small stone and he was gone. A simple boy with faith so bold, greatest stories ever told. In the desert there was Moses, parted seas and faced the foes, led the people to the land, freedom through divine command. Greatest stories ever told, through the ages they unfold. From the prophets to the kings, feel the joy that true faith brings. True faith brings. In the desert there was Moses, parted sea led the people to the land, freedom through divine command. Greatest stories ever told, through the ages they unfold. From the prophets to the kings, feel the joy that true faith brings.